So I wanted to ask what identity means to Oracle, the Oracle Cloud, and how it sort of is a spine or how it sort of underpins and the value of identity, particularly now, how it's operational and how you see the role of identity at Oracle moving forward.
Sure. So identity is kind of the underpinning in all that we do. And that can take a few different forms. It could be brought in through first party data. It can be through third party data assets to which we have access. It could be keyed off of emails. It can be connecting device IDs like cookies and mobile ad IDs. But just as importantly, we think it's important to plug in across all ecosystems, which would include connected TV, OTT ecosystems, in addition to digital and some of the more traditional mediums.
As a follow-up about identity, could you define, how you guys value identity, how it's used, and why it's important?
Sure. For us, we believe that marketers are trying to deliver the right message in the right moment. And so, in order to do that, you need to know who you're delivering your message to and how they're receiving it. With that said, we believe that consumer trust and transparency is at the forefront of everything we do. So, we want to make sure it's clear what we're connecting, how we're using that data, and what the benefit is to the customer that's receiving that message in whatever medium it may be it television or digital.
Which leads us to the question about privacy and consent. And there's a lot going on, obviously, from a regulatory standpoint and from some of the big platforms. How does this shift um, around consent and privacy kind of change the work that the industry has to do and what Oracle has to do?
Sure. So we think that consent needs to be on the forefront of every interaction. We want to be as transparent as possible. We want to make sure that consumers are benefiting from however they are engaging, whether it's in television or in digital. And as a result, we believe that a lot of the data that has been available to date will dissipate as there are higher and more transparent barriers put in place to participate. So, for Oracle specifically, we ensure that any partner with whom we work receives consent, that it's clear in how they're collecting that and how the data will be used. And so, we've really focused in on a key number of partners that have both the right data signal and consent in a way that we see as compliant, which is a great example for how we work with partners like TransUnion, who are able to marry the two together, the right level of signal, in addition to making sure that it is transparent and compliant with how we want to interface with consumers.
Now, Samantha, in your role, you interact with so many vendors and providers, and you certainly see what's going on. And there's still a tremendous amount of fragmentation. What do you think can be done in terms of improving interoperability, if that's something that you think is possible, or what you would like to see?
That's a great question. So I definitely think it's possible. From our lens, we think that the different signals will come back to a more person-driven sense of resolution. And in order to be as effective as possible, advertisers want to understand how they are performing across ecosystems, whether it's CTV, whether it's OTT, whether it's a walled garden. And so, from my perspective, in order to be successful, we need to be able to connect those different ecosystems together. To me, an entity that would come out to say, here's this microcosm to which no one else can have access, or there's no transparency in how things are measured or delivered, is not a recipe for success. And instead, we want to see that increased connectivity across those different ecosystems and products that span those different environments to give that insight to understand how performance is occurring in each of those different areas and helping to connect the dots, whether it's targeting the individual and understanding how many times they're exposed, or whether it's measuring and making sure that the metrics are being captured in the same way to deliver consistent and reliable results.
And finally, Samantha, I wanted to ask you how marketers and publishers can continue to build trust and improve consumer experiences through identity-based approaches. How does
Absolutely.
identity fit in there?
Sure. So I think that there are some executional mechanisms, things like transparency around the use of data or clear opt-out mechanisms. But ultimately, the focus is on the value we're delivering to consumers and making sure that they have choice and transparency around how to improve their user experience. So there's a bunch of different approaches for how to go about doing this. I mean, Oracle, for example, maintains relationships with over 30 different industry bodies to try and help solve this. But ultimately, the goal is to make it as positive as possible for the consumer.